Hey, this is Christina Feliciano with Feliciano and Friends. I have my friend Mike Hollis here today. He is former NFL. He played in the Pro Bowl. He has his own kicking academy. He is part of three. He does a lot of things, so it's really interesting, and I'm excited to interview him, and he's going to teach us all about how he became so successful and tips and tools that you guys can use. All right, so thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you originally from, and how did you get into football?
How much time you got?
As much time as you need.
I am originally from Washington State. I was born in Kellogg, Idaho, a town of 2,000 people. It's still a town of 2,000 people. But yeah, I played soccer up there in the Northwest. It was kind of a big sport up there in Washington, and I just got good at kicking the ball around, and then I discovered kicking at the 8th grade level of football.
Yeah.
So I was a receiver and a DB.
So you were 13 when you started playing, approximately?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was so I played receiver, DB, and kicker and punter, and of course that was on the lightweight team. Of course, I was a little guy, and when I went to high school, I was a little timid because I thought I had to play other positions, but I could be just a kicker. So I don't know, I was good at kicking, and I found a passion. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, that's awesome. So were you an all-star kicker when you were in high school?
I was all regional.
Okay, but you were good.
Yeah.
All right, and then you play Division I, or how does that work out?
No, I actually, because of my size, I didn't get recruited to
That's
very many
wild.
colleges.
So you've been in the NFL and you weren't even recruited.
Yeah, I went on to a junior college for 2 years because that was the only opportunity I had to get a scholarship. I wanted to earn a scholarship growing up, and their scholarship at a junior college is nothing but peanuts, but at least it's a scholarship,
right?
At least I was wanted,
Okay.
So I went through 2 years of junior college, and I was a blue chip All-American my freshman year, and did pretty well my second year, and then found myself in the same boat I was graduating high school. I was now looking to move on to a university, and nobody was looking. You know what I mean? So University of Idaho eventually called and said, hey, we got a scholarship available. We thought this guy we brought in from Michigan State was going to be our guy, and didn't turn out to be as good as they thought, and so they wanted to bring in some competition, and they offered either one of us a scholarship, whoever can beat the other guy out. Yeah.
So you beat him out?
Oh, I beat him out, yeah.
Nice. So then you played 2 years, University of Idaho. Mm-hmm. You did well there?
I did okay. I had a strong leg. I was really good with kickoffs and longer field goals, except for I tried a lot of long field goals and missed a lot of long field goals.
Did you?
So my stats were not that great, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then how did you get into the NFL from there?
Well, at that point,
so
teams,
far it doesn't sound like the road to the NFL and the
odds
Pro
are
Bowl.
against me already.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But teams travel through colleges, and they ask their coaches, who do you think has got the potential? Mm-hmm. And my coach, John L. Smith, it was always telling the scouts and coaches that came through, that I had some potential. I reminded him of some other kickers that he's familiar with in the NFL, and just got some tryouts and did pretty well. And I was in the middle of kind of changing up some stuff with my form and things, so that was a little bit of a challenge. But I got on with the San Diego Chargers in 1994, actually. So that was my first official NFL experience. But it was just I was there for training camp. John Carney was a kicker there, and I knew I wasn't beating him out.
Okay, and then so when did you come to the Jags, and then when did you do Pro Bowl?
Well, that was 95. I had an opportunity to come back to San Diego, but Jacksonville expressed an interest, and then again, they thought I was too short. They were going to move on, and I have a kicking coach and mentor, a guy that taught me everything about kicking for the most part, and he did not accept no for an answer. He basically called him up and told him what he thought.
Nice.
And convinced him to at least work me out, and then I had to work out again in front of Tom Coughlin because he didn't believe that someone not my size could do what I did, and I proved him wrong. So I got an opportunity.
And weren't you the best or the most accurate kicker at the time when you played for the NFL?
It was right in the middle of my second or third year. I can't remember. It was a minimum of 100 attempts. So probably my third year. So minimum of 100 attempts. Once I hit 100 field goal attempts, whatever my obviously got to make the 100th one.
Yeah.
Whatever my percentage was at the time, wherever that was, put me at the highest percentage.
No, that's awesome. So how have you, and even now you have the kicking academy. Mm-hmm. So how did you become so good at what you do? So you're an expert, right? So you are an absolute expert in kicking. How did that happen?
It's a lot of, you can work really hard on things, but you can work really hard on the wrong things.
Yeah.
You can get really good at bad stuff.
Right.
I was fortunate enough to have a guy that taught me a certain way of kicking a ball that actually included my whole body when most kickers don't. They if they're big, strong, and athletic, they tend to stop real aggressively at the ball and swing really heavy with the leg. I didn't do that. I actually ran through the ball with more momentum and body weight. And so I was taught a certain way of doing that, and perfecting that was very challenging. It took me a long time, a lot of practice, a lot of working out, and stretching and running, lots of sprints, and man, it was a long road, but it was very, very well worth it.
And you coach right now, or you help, the Kicking Academy. And how do you see a lot of good results with your
what students?
Students, okay, yeah.
Student athletes.
Student athletes.
Yes and no. I mean, I see the ones that are.
And then the next question is, part of that is what makes some successful and some not? Raw talent, or tell me that.
Well, that's probably exactly what I'm going to answer.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. You already lead me off here. It kind of depends on their mental attitude, because here's a weird thing to think about. The way I teach and the mental part of what I'm teaching and how I'm teaching with the fundamentals and the form and everything. The best thing for you as a kicker to learn this stuff is not to care where the ball goes, and that's hard for a lot of kickers to do.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because they're all out there in the field trying to make these kicks, and when they do that, they do these things that I wouldn't want them to do or myself to do.
So is it first form? It's
form, yes, okay. And that really kind of ties into the mental side of kicking too, because people say, "Wow, how do you deal with all the pressure?" Like, it's kind of funny to hear this, but I didn't care where the ball went. And they're like, "What do you mean? You're making a game-winning kick. You have to care where it goes." Yeah. Subconsciously, I do. I know where I have to win the game by making a kick. But I can't do anything different on that kick because it means more. I got to do the same thing I've always done, which is, trust the form and just let the mechanics do the work for me.
Okay. So then what makes some good and some bad?
For
student athletes,
their ability to actually accept it, because it's challenging in a sense where it's not common sense for kickers. Because, for example, if you're a right-footed soccer style kicker, when you line up, you go 3 steps back and then 2 steps to your left, right? Well, as you stand there, you're left of the ball, and as you look up at your goalpost, those are left of you. Yeah. So your brain is telling you to do something left, and I don't teach that. I teach forwardness, like everything's forward. Okay. And so it's hard for athletes to accept the form, even though the stuff that the parts and the pieces that I teach are very natural in an everyday life. Like, I ask kids, "Can you run a straight line?" Little Johnny said, "Oh yeah, I can run a straight line." Yeah. And we goes to kick a football. He doesn't run a straight line. I said, "Little Johnny, you have to run in a straight line to that plant foot. You can't zigzag or go into the ball and then come out of it. You have to run a straight line. You told me you could run a straight line." And so again, but again, that natural ability or that temptation to steer the ball left of them gets away from what I'm trying to teach them, is running a straight line. They don't think running a straight line is going to make the ball go there. And I actually demonstrate. I'm 53 years old, and I still can kick these, kick the ball and show them good, proper form and fundamentals, and the ball still flies.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw the videos recently. You look good. You're looking good. And you also too, when you were it was like 50 when you made this the Sharks.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool.
That was a unique situation, because I know one of the owners of the team, and he asked me the year before or whatever, he kind of hinted "Hey, would you want to play?" I'm like, no, I wanted to get one of my athletes in the arena to see what he could do. And the guy, Nick, the guy that I talked to, the owner, one of the owners, said, "No, I wasn't asking about him. I was asking about you. Would you want to play? Can you still kick?" And I'm just like, "Well, yeah, I can." Yeah. So I gave it a shot, but it was like one game, and my body was like, no. Plus, I had 4 back surgeries when I played in the NFL, so here I am, and I realized that in the middle of the game that I played in, I'm thinking, my back started to lock up on me and get real tight. I'm like, this pain is familiar. Yeah. This reminded me back in the day when I was playing the NFL. It was like one of the reasons why I retired, because my back was hurting me so much.
Yeah. So what about what else do you do to work out? What do you like to do? I know a little bit.
I'll let you. I've been so when I retired, the last thing I wanted to be is go to the weight room and just do the same stuff I'd always done. So that was kind of, but then I gained weight and got a little lazy. My back started hurting, so I'm like, I need to, stay in shape, primarily for my back. And obviously, I'm a big kid. I like to just be active. But I found title boxing, so I've been doing title boxing for 12 years now. And love it. Did you go? Did you find out?
No, I need to go. So it's funny because Izzy was actually bringing up, because I'm all into the yoga and the Pilates, and she's like, "I really think you need to do boxing." And I was like, I need to do it. But then I was I need to cut my nails.
You don't need to cut your nails. You're not hitting with your nails. You got gloves on.
Okay, so I have to try it for sure.
It's a very good overall body workout, and it's safe for my back the way it is, and then. So after, 10, 11 years,
I just think I'm aggressive and I don't need to get that side out, but maybe that's good.
Well, it's hard. It's very difficult. If you and then thing is you pace yourself, so you can make it as hard or easy as you want. And then I started doing F45 workouts. The last 8 months or so, I've been doing those too. Okay. So that was a little bit of a of a stretch with regards to what I feel like I'm capable of doing. But
yeah, is that kind of hit?
Is what?
HIIT training?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of, it's circuit training.
Is it weights too?
Yeah, they had weights and things like that, and so I have to kind of be conscious of it. But I feel like the boxing has gotten me, pretty good in shape
I definitely
with my core and stuff, and I don't have to worry too much. But I can't get complacent and do some bad form because I'll throw my back up.
How frequently do you work out and how long?
I mean, I alternate boxing and F45 every week. Yeah, pretty much for the most part. At least 5 days a week or so. Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend to people to treat it like a job and do 5 to 7. Do you do an hour a day?
It's typically an hour. The F45 is 45 minutes. Boxing is around the same, I guess. Yeah, 45 minutes to an hour.
A lot of women do boxing there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think more women are entitled than men. Honestly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I've been there a long time. I've seen
I know.
coming into that place, and it's typically more women than men.
All right, and then what else is going on? So going back to your time playing football, what is a memorable coach that you had that helped you, and what did they do that helped you the most? Well,
it wasn't any specific coach on any specific team. It was my kicking coach and my mentor, Jim Gaetano. Which
so you still work with, right?
Yeah, he coaches with me as well.
Okay, very cool.
He's
I didn't realize you went that far back.
Yeah,
How far back?
He and I grew up in the same hometown, Spokane.
Wow.
Yeah,
I knew that you had history. I didn't realize it was that long.
He played for the same high school coach I did, but just at a different high school.
Okay,
so when he was done with his NFL tryouts, that was in '87. He finally got on after 10 years of trying out. Finally got on with the Chiefs and. Preseason got cut, and then he decided he's just going to coach.
Okay.
And so I've been kind of with him ever since. Typically, after my junior year of college is really when I halfway through that year is when I got back with him, and he came back to Spokane. I didn't know where he went.
Okay.
And he actually showed up at a game I was at playing, of course, and he grabs me out of on the field at halftime and said, "Hey, you got to work on." I'm like, he starts coaching me right then and there.
That's really cool. Mm-hmm. Okay, I didn't realize that. How many years is that you all known each other?
35, 40, long, 40 years maybe. I don't even know.
That's really cool.
Since high school.
So how is it the transition from athlete to business owner? And then I know you also do 3. So talk a little bit about the transition and how that happened. And
yeah, that was a tough one. I think it's tough for a lot of players that don't prepare themselves for retirement, which I didn't. It wasn't because I didn't want to. I really didn't think too much about it, and then my back got to a point where I'm like, as a kicker, you think you're going to go forever. But I didn't prepare myself very well, and so when I retired, I was like, I don't even know what to do because my degree was obsolete at that point. I'd probably have to go back.
What was your degree in?
Sports science, like an exaggerated physical education degree.
Okay.
Yeah, and wellness, specializing in health and wellness. On top of that, so I'm actually ironically doing that now.
Yes.
But when I first retired, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to. But I was around football so long and nutrition and all that. I was just like, I want to take a break from that. And so I really struggled with trying to find something to do. And then about 3 years after I retired is when I started my academy.
Okay. Yeah. And then how was that? How did you do the marketing? How did you get that? Because it's been going on for a while now.
19 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing to have a business for 19 years. So how did that get started? How have you been able to successfully keep it going for 19 years?
Yeah, it was a learning curve because one of the classes I really hated in college was marketing. I'm like, I'm never going to use this. That's all I use.
All you use, right? Sales and marketing,
Yeah, so that was a little bit of a challenge. And the part that sucks the most is the fact that I'm not a very arrogant person. I'm a very outgoing, responsible person, but I have to advertise myself, which I hate doing.
I cannot relate.
So it is a little bit of a challenge, but the kicking market is such a niche market, and then the older I'm getting, the more kids are getting exposed to kicking, the more coaches are popping up everywhere, and these camps that these kids are going to now are kind of like showcase camps. And they're used for college recruiting, and I'm like, y'all have it backwards. Why don't you learn how to kick really well and then go to those camps?
I know, but I told you before, it's unsolicited advice. But I mean, I know that you're doing really well as it is, but I just feel like if you're just like, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. And
again, goes back to the whole concept.
Yeah, I know, but
I mean, I'm very prideful in the stuff that I teach because I'm not a very big guy, but I was doing things in the NFL that were as good or better than the guys that were twice my size, twice my athletic ability. So I know it works. Yeah. But it's not easy to learn, and that's where, the older I get, the more I've kind of learned about kids. There's a little bit of an entitlement. The older I get,
generation.
These generations are just they're just kind of like they just want it now, and I'm like, I used to make kids sign a little sheet that I made up that said, hey, listen, you're going to take 2 steps back before you take a step forward with this.
Yeah.
And just be ready for that because I just didn't want kids to start getting worse and then quit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, listen, this is a process. We're just recreating
you have
new
to unlearn.
habits.
Yeah, I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
So what other things are you doing? I know that you are doing 3, if you want to talk about that. And then you said you were doing like a wellness coach, or is that with 3 is what you're talking
It's
about?
kind of with 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the process of studying to be a holistic health coach.
Okay.
And so that's going to help with the 3 international, with the proactive wellness products and things like that. And then also I work with a company called Premier Life that deals with GLP-1 shots and NAD Plus and Samorlin and all kinds of
stuff
hormone therapy, things like that. Yeah. So that's a very big thing these days.
For sure.
GLP-1 course and
so are you on any of those things?
I do NAD Plus and Samorlin as well.
Okay, I just started the Samorlin too. Yeah, I like it. Are you noticing more muscle with it?
I am. The recovery's better and a little bit more energy.
Are you doing injectables or Troshi? Okay,
yeah.
I'm doing the Troshi right now. Yeah. Okay, how long have you been on it, you said?
I don't know, 3 months now, I guess.
Okay, and then what about the NAD Plus? Do you like that?
That's the same. Yeah, I do it the same. I've been doing both of them.
Are you doing it weekly? Or you do the Samorlin daily? What about the NAD? Are you daily? Okay.
Daily. Yeah. NAD in the morning and Samorlin at night.
Okay, yeah, no, that's been a huge. No, I really like them, both of them too. And and also too for the Samorlin and the NAD are good for men and women. What some of the things like testosterone that I do you can't do for both. Right. No, that's super cool.
Hormone booster, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's really cool. I didn't know you were doing all that. And then what other things do you? I see that you post some things or repost about what's your philosophy with wellness and health. Well, I kind of know just from like speaking to you and posting, but in your own words.
Well, I'm becoming,
because I admire you. You look great.
Right.
You're since I've known you, you've always been really into health and kind of walk the walk and talk the talk.
Well, that's my goal, is just to kind of reverse the clock. But I know it's inevitable. I'm going to get old, but I want to, and my dad is 83 years old.
Now that NAD Plus,
right? He lives on a mountain. He's always up he's hiking. He's cutting trees down. He's got his own sawmill. Like at 83 years old. So I'm like, I want to be like him, I want to be active when I get older, and so I just don't want to slow down, and I see people who don't take care of themselves and how miserable they are, and it just frustrates me that just open your eyes to some opportunities, some products, whether they're proactive wellness with 3 or the treatment therapies that we offer at Premier Life, and just you don't understand how good you can feel when you start taking care of yourself and eating better and exercising. That's another thing. And family is kind of like, they don't really do a whole lot up in the Northwest. They just kind of hang out, and I'm like, not to say that they complain about issues, but they're getting older too, and they're not. The
other thing too, which I'm sure or I won't speak for you, but like with physical health, is that a lot of times, like in our culture, everyone is like culturally, but there's like depression, anxiety, and I always tell people like, and I'm getting more and more, there's really so much you can do about your mental health as far as willing yourself out of it. But you can, no matter how you feel, get up and walk and get up and lift. Like, you can do those things. And I'm really like, and I'm trying to learn a little more of the science behind it, but I'm noticing more and more. And I'm noticing with my patients that come in, the overweight, that just like when they're getting their body physically healthy, their mind follows. So instead of trying to get your mind right to then get your body healthy, it's like, let's just get the body healthy and the mind will follow.
Right. One thing I've noticed too, personally, clearly, is that there's always a hump that you have to get over, and when you're climbing that hill, say for example, you haven't worked out in a while and you start working out again, it is a pain in the butt. It is hard. When I first started boxing, I was way out of shape. And I can promise you, when I'm turning left on San Pablo to turn into the parking lot there, I'm just like, what am I doing? Because I knew that every time I go in there, I just absolutely die. But once I got over the hill, it was all kind of smooth sailing from there. Yeah, it doesn't ever get easy, but it was a lot easier to go and know that I wasn't going to kill myself every time, because it was very, very difficult. When you're out of shape, it is. But, and the same thing with diets. I mean, you can't expect to lose a bunch of weight in the first week of a diet.
And what's your diet? I mean, I know it's healthy. Are you more like protein? Do you do a lot
protein? I don't have a specific diet. Just just try to be.
Are you low carbs or not really?
Not really. I mean, just I know I'm burning a lot of carbs when I work out, so I feel that eating carbs are okay. But I do a heavy protein diet. I'm eating lots of.
Do you do protein supplements or?
Yeah, I do.
Do you do creatinine?
Creatine. Yeah, I do.
I just started that. How much do you take a day?
Just one scoop. You
5 or 10? You don't know?
I don't remember. It's
someone today, I don't know if it's true, I have to look this up before anyone, but someone was saying that there's like mental health benefit, and even more if you do like 20. So I'm like, let me look that up before.
They're finding more evidence that creatine's doing a lot more for your brain, for everything.
That's what I heard. Yeah, so I was like, oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So,
all
right. And then what would you recommend to someone, let's say that somebody is just like wanting to have a lifestyle change. So someone that's obese, lethargic, have joint ache, unhealthy diet, where would you recommend, where would they to begin? Like what would be your kind of like protocol to get started to try to get to a healthy lifestyle?
Well, I think for me personally, I've taken a lot of supplements over time. Even when I was playing, we had all kinds of stuff thrown at us, and any sort of vitamin supplement, none of that I ever felt like it worked. And I know with 3 International, we have the absorption technologies that the cellular delivery absorption technologies that work. They actually get the nutrients and the phytonutrients and the molecules absorbed into the body. So beginning of that, I've noticed myself that I started feeling like I was less brain fog. I slept better at night, and for my back specifically, I took a lot of Advil. And even after I retired, I was still taking some Advil, kicking, coaching, and sometimes on my feet a lot, and it starts to hurt. So I was popping Advil because that was the only thing that really relieved it. But now, because of the anti-inflammatory product,
are you taking like a GLP-1 low dose?
I don't do GLP-1.
So there's some studies that low doses will help with anti-inflammation. Okay. That's why I asked.
I don't need it.
I mean, you don't need it as far as weight, but there's a microdosing for anti-inflammation.
Right. There's epigenetics properties of our products too that actually decrease inflammation quite substantially. But then I would recommend, starting with a regular productive wellness routine with the supplements. Just taking the supplements every day, and then
but what about like
the
other things on top of that you'd recommend?
Well, it's all based on blood work, and so with the Premier Life.
No, I mean just like so like I'm saying so they're taking supplements. What else do you recommend?
Exercise.
Okay, that's right.
Absolutely.
And where to start?
Whether it starts with walking.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get.
I'm
trying
not
to
going to force
from,
anybody into. I'm not really big into like forcing people to do exercise. I just recommend it but what people don't realize is a little exercise is a lot better than none.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad you're saying that.
Yeah. I think walking, just getting your heart rate up, keeping the blood flowing. You'd be surprised, especially the people that are so sedentary that don't move. When they get up and walk around, they're probably sore the next day for sure. Yeah. Because they just walked a bunch, but again, it gets better.
So supplements, and then walking, and then nutrition-wise, what do you recommend? Because the reason I'm asking is because for people that are watching this like at home, so they see someone like you that's 53, and then they hear, professional or retired professional athlete, they're good, and sometimes I think people think it's impossible for me to be like that, and I try to on the podcast with every guest to try to ask the questions, and I don't always do a great job, to try to for people that are watching to kind of be like, how could I be like him? And to kind of give, so to try to give steps of like what, and especially too, if you're not your physique with your history, it's where you can't start what you're doing day one. So it's like, so that's what I'm trying to kind of get. Well, it's like, what, how do you kind of get there? What would be the titration to get you to where
I think it starts with your diet, and again, it's portion control. You'd find that most obese people eat a lot more than they actually expel in calories.
For sure.
You see what I mean? So I mean, it's a common sense phenomenon, really. It's like, wait, you put too much gas in the car, it's gonna, whatever, you're gonna get, So my point is that portion control is first, but also stay away from the processed crap. I'm telling you, it's. This is you probably heard this line before too. If you go to a grocery store and you find that there's a health food section in the grocery store, what does that make the rest of the store?
Yeah, I actually haven't heard that before, but that's
really wow. Well, think about that for a second.
Yeah, and the health food is just like fruit. It's just like.
And the health food still is not that great either. Like our produce isn't. That's another thing I've learned with 3 International. Is there's a lot. Our produce is so depleted in nutrition and minerals. Because it's coming from the same fields and same crops that they've grown every year after year after year, and they don't replenish it with any nutrients or anything.
Have you ever done a food sensitivity test?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
So I have that. I mean, it's just a lab test, but I did that recently at our clinic. But you can go. I mean, there's different places, but there's IgG and IgE. So one is an allergy that's like anaphylaxis. Mm-hmm. So you probably don't have that, or you would have known, right? Or me. But then there's the other one, which I'm always getting confused. I think it's IgG. One of them is anaphylaxis. The other one is it's also an allergic response, but it's over time as far as food sensitivity. And I did that, and it was just really interesting. So it's kind of like gut health, but also like your body actually is having an inflammation response to it. And when it came back for me, I was really surprised because some of the things I love, like peanut butter, came back.
Really?
Gluten came back, wheat came back. Cow's milk that was like had certain hormone, like it wasn't all like if a cow had like never been like pumped with like, I think it was like cows that have basically there's some hormone that we give cows that I'm allergic to because it's like the artificial. And it was interesting, but when I eliminated that from the diet, I felt really good. But I was like losing weight, and I was like, but I love like peanut butter, and I love some gluten. So then I tested it again, because I'm like, maybe this is a scam, right? And then when I did it again, it came back all the same sensitivity. So I didn't. I mean, I don't think it's a huge, because it's not going to be like life or death. But it has been interesting. I've had other patients that have just taken it just to be aware of the food sensitivities, because it is an inflammation response, and it shows how much inflammation that you have, and then if you cut those foods out, you're going to have a less of an inflammation response, which is just kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the
there's certain foods and nutrients that actually affect your genes in a negative way, where they upregulate. They upregulate
really interesting
inflammatory genes, making more inflammation in your body. But our products have shown to decrease those.
Oh, that's cool.
Inflammatory genes.
That's interesting. Yeah, and then I also eggs, and I haven't done that much research on it to find out over time if maybe you could if it could go better, because that was part of the reason too. I was like, maybe it's a scam, or not scam, but and then I had cut it out. But when I tested after cutting it out for like 8 weeks or so, I still had, when they did the test, the sensitivities. But that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So tell us about what's your typical day.
It's my day's never the same because I've got kickers that I work with at different times. Sometimes, like tomorrow morning, I'll have to do a virtual with the kid at 7 a.m.
All right.
So, and then I might have another guy or two sporadically throughout the day. So it all kind of depends. My schedules are never the same. So I'm always, that's the luxury, I guess, or the commitment that I've made of working basically on my own and doing my own thing, is that I've got time during the day that I can piece out for each little thing that I'm doing.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, that is nice when you're your own boss, right? Yeah. Do you like being your own boss?
Well, that's the question you asked me, like, how was it like after retirement? I'm like, it sucked. I've had office jobs before after I retired from football, and I hated them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like
was
being
it the
stuck
office that you didn't like, or being told what to do, or both?
It was the having to dress up in slacks you clearly see I'm in flip flops and shorts. So.
It was funny because I had like a dress up for work. I'm like, Mike's gonna come over in t-shirt and shorts. I promise you. Let me change and to a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah. So I don't know. And again, I feel confident with myself as far as. The mentality that to get to the NFL took a lot of dedication, work, and commitment, right? Well, that same dedication, work, and commitment and passion, of course, will carry over into my business life too. So I already have the mindset, I guess, for it.
For sure.
And if I, it's like if I wanted to be a kicker in the NFL, I was going to be one of 32.
Yeah.
And I made it.
That's pretty remarkable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, so how do you define success?
Oh boy, that good question. Just fulfilling your dreams. I mean, because everybody's got a different level. Everybody has a different level of what they think success is, I think. And I've always been very firm in believing in, I've never been like a long-term goal setter. Yes, in the back of my mind, I just keep it there. Like, when I thought I could make the NFL, then the NFL became a goal. Yeah. But it wasn't like, I got to make it. It was just like, I want to be the best I can. And at whatever level I get, with my kicking, I have to be okay with, because that's where people get discouraged when they set these unrealistic goals. And if it's a long-term goal, then they're doing all this work on a daily basis, really striving for the long-term goal. I like to take baby steps. I'm like, every day, every play, every kick is just a progression of, I want to get better every day, a little bit at a time, taking baby steps. And eventually, if I do the best I can every day under the circumstances that I was given, could be rainy, could be wet, whatever. I'm trying to kick field goals and all this really crappy weather. Well, if I did the best I could, if I look myself in the mirror at the end of the night and say I did the best I could under the circumstances I was given, then I've succeeded. I've made my goal.
Well, that's a healthy response.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, it's people look too far ahead.
Yeah.
They do. They really do, and they miss out on the process it takes to get to that level. And if you're not conscious of it, if you don't know what the proper steps are to get to that level, you might try to go too fast, which I think a lot of people do. They want that goal now.
That is true.
And they miss out on some really important things.
And then, I know, so I define success too as maintaining relationships. I know that you've had a lot of friendships that you've had for decades and things. So how have you been successful in maintaining these long-term relationships with friends?
Well, just stay in touch and communicate with them and be cool.
Right.
I've never, I mean, my high school days, even thinking, because I was just back in Washington State in Spokane and ran
but I have that too, but
yeah.
a lot of people don't. So it is like you think it's simple, but what do you think that you're doing differently?
I just get along with people. I don't take things too personally. Yeah, there's times when I get a little butthurt. I'll be honest with you, but because it's offensive sometimes when people doubt you or something, whatever the case may be. But I just think that once you develop a good relationship with people and you know where they stand, I think that it's. I don't like conflict. I hate it, so I try to avoid it. And I like to surround myself with people that I trust and that are respectful and honest to me.
No, that's good. And where's your favorite place to travel?
Oh boy, anywhere it's warm, beach, sun.
Not Alaska.
Whatever. No. Well, Alaska was awesome. I tell you, it was great. But
had you been to Alaska before?
One time, but it was back when I was playing, and it was just like a 5-day fishing trip, which was amazing too. But this was a little longer and just more.
Yeah, places.
Yeah, places.
What's a quote that you like?
I don't really.
You're not a quote
I don't really have a quote other than
or a motto.
There's one thing I always tell my kickers, and this is one very important thing that I learned in the NFL, and it wasn't by accident. It wasn't me that I just kind of self-taught myself this. It was actually advice given to me from Brian Barker, who was the punter at the time, and he had 5 years of experience prior to me even getting to Jacksonville. He was with Kansas City and in Philly for 1 year. But he told me one day, and I can't remember for my second year maybe in the NFL, he said to me, and I think it was game day, he said this to me, he says, hey, I don't know if you've ever thought of this, but we've practiced every day, all the time. We're doing the same things in practice, and we're kicking the ball really well in practice for the most part, right? You can have bad days. But why, he says to me, like on game day, what makes it different than practice? Because it matters more now, but you have to think about that. The field is the same length and width. The goalposts are the same width and height and all that. Nothing has changed. But if you put more emphasis on it just because it's game day, you're going to do different things than you did in practice that you've been 100% at for 5 days in a row or whatever the case may be. Which I don't think I've ever had 5 days in a row of being 100% because we're not perfect. I miss kicks all the time in practice, but my point is that if you try harder on game day, in other words, what I tell my kids, I said, don't try harder on game day. If anything, just relax, and you've got the adrenaline already in you. And this is, again, what Brian told me. He's like, let the adrenaline, let the environment, let the fans, let all this, everything encompass in a game in the NFL, highest level of football in the world.
Yeah.
You just let that take care of your power, whatever you're looking for as far as strength and all that. Yeah. Just relax and let things fly and don't do anything different on game day just because it matters more. Because then you do different stuff than you've always done.
No, that's good. That's a good advice for sure. Yeah. And then what do you just kind of probably answered this a little bit earlier, but I usually ask people like where do they visualize themselves in 5 years, but you're kind of day to day. Do you have any big goals for 5 years from now?
No, I mean, just get people healthy, as many as I possibly can, and just kind of show them ways that they can actually feel better about themselves and look better, and overall just general health. I mean, there's the other saying too, of course, is when you get when you're unhealthy and you eat a bunch of junk and you just expect that the big pharma pills are going to take care of your problems.
Yes.
Your Medicare expenses, your medical expenses overall later on down the road, and they're probably going to get worse, of course, are going to be a heck of a lot more expensive than right now, today, if you just
for sure
every day take care of yourself a little bit by a little bit.
That's interesting that you brought that up because with Big Pharma and most people, it's not that they don't know, but I don't think they think about it, but like our modern healthcare system is based on basically, usually people have insurance, whether it be with the government, Medicaid, Medicare, or private insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield, or Aetna, whatever it is. And then you get medications based on having an ailment, which you have to have an ICD-9 or a 10 code. So you don't get medications unless you have an ailment. So the whole system is based on being sick and then needing things. And then I know that your businesses are private pay, my businesses are private pay, but there's this whole thing where at this point, the way that our healthcare system works, it has to be private pay because we're trying to do things for health and wellness, right? So if you're not being reactive, then you have to do private pay because the current healthcare system doesn't allow it's insurance coverage for health and wellness. So you're not going to get Sermorelin or NAD or any of these things because these are health and wellness supplements. You're only going to get medication covered when you have an ailment. And it's something that's not really, I don't know, discussed, or I don't think people understand, or they'll often to me, I'm sure maybe to you, maybe not as much with yours because it's a little bit more like supplements, but either way, they're like, does insurance cover it? I'm like, well, no, because like that's not how the healthcare system.
However, there's some truth to healthcare paying for it, because I'm living proof of it.
Okay,
because we have the NFL retired players, we get an HRA account.
Well, that's true.
And so with that ICD-10
100%.
code with the doctor's recommendation for certain products for a certain ailment.
Okay.
So my ailment is inflammation. I have back issues. I've got inflammation in my back. I need Revive, which is the product that I take, and I get it reimbursed every month.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting.
Through the HRA account.
With us, so just so you know too, with the HRA or the HSA, because we do that too with FSA, you don't usually necessarily even need an ICD-9 or an ICD-10. I've been able to, just to let you know, I've been able to get things covered just even based on family medical, whatever, and just say, this is my license, and this is my MPI, and I believe that this supplement is good for this person under my license, and gotten it covered that way, even if they didn't have, just so you know.
I was just following the NFL rules.
No, you're good.
It's through Cigna, it's their protocol.
Okay,
so
for sure.
Every time I have to submit the same letter.
Yeah, no, you're good, but even I'm just sharing with you too. I mean, it probably works out, but if I was thinking too, if you were selling it and you needed it just to have that.
I think that helps though is that our products, that 7 of our 11 products we have, all of our proactive wellness products, we have skincare line and now an energy drink.
Yes.
But all 6 proactive wellness products are listed in the PDR.
Okay, that's good.
So that's a huge deal, because if they understand it's listed in the PDR, which is in the letter too, by the way, so I told the doctor to put that in there. It makes a big difference, because if it's in there, it's kind of more or less classified as medicinal.
For sure.
We're a nutraceutical company.
Yes.
Not pharmaceutical by any means. So it's plant-based. You're getting healed and you're getting inflammation, whatever the case may be. You're getting healed from inside out using plant material instead of
And can you explain that just so that you kind of did, but that's the definition of it, right?
Right.
Okay.
It's just, just taking supplements that absorb, and you're basically using the plant materials that do specific things for your body and healing properties, and go from there. And it's really, if you think about the pharmaceutical, we'll call them, even back before the 60s, because that's when they started synthetically making vitamins and sort of things in their products. And so they used to be all plant-based. I refer to 3 International and the Proactive Wellness products as back to remedies. You think of that, you're mixing cinnamon with honey and all the mom's remedies. They're all natural products, but they fix things. Big Pharma's not like that anymore, because they want I can't say they want, but it seems like they really like the side effects that these pills are giving, so that they can recommend other pills.
I would go as far as to say they want it. Absolutely. They do. I mean, it's monetary. The Big Pharma, for sure.
Pfizer's been around for how many years? 145 years, something like that. And how many diseases have they cured?
No,
none.
No.
Not one. 0.
Well, there's no money in the cure.
Yeah, that's my point. There's no money in healthy people either.
There's an old clip. This is back in like the 90s with Chris Rock, but he even talked about HIV, which is kind of true now. But he was like, there ain't never going to be a cure. There's going to be a thing where you can live with it.
Yeah.
Because if you cured it, and now it's kind of true.
Right.
And now it's like actually true. You can kind of live with HIV. And he actually, he made it tongue in cheek, but it's 100%.
I've been down some rabbit holes where HIV actually came from. I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
But just saying.
No, it really, and I mean, because it's also too, you don't want to come, or I often with my business, or you don't want to come across too much like conspiracy theorists. But the thing is, I think what it is, it's not even conspiracy. It's just that when you understand that money makes the world go round, and how much money there is to be made in big pharma and in people being sick.
Open your eyes and see where the money goes. See who's getting wealthier. See what people are. I mean, it's a very easy thing to figure out.
No, it is.
That's why you got to take care of yourself, and with natural products that.
Yeah, and the thing too is like all these universities too, with the state-run university. And again, I went to University of Florida, and you went to university, so we're not anti-state universities. But what they're taught, and even Big Pharma funds all of these like research, and then we're taught to basically follow this, medicinal way. At least for me as a nurse practitioner, I was taught to follow this basically way that really is almost the guidelines for hypertension, the guidelines for kidney. It's all like big pharma's involved in these guidelines, and they're like, use this ACE and it's interesting. And I don't know. So when you first get out, I remember having a job interview for someone in town that was actually at the time doing still private pay, but kind of what I'm doing now. And I remember being like, I was like a new nurse practitioner. I'm like, I can't do that. They're not doing it like peer reviewed. And now I understand. Yeah, so it's interesting. And then I'm trying to think what else I've not. Oh, so if somebody's interested in any of your services, how would they reach you?
Well, I've put kind of a website together. It's called zealouswellness.com.
Okay. And do you have a podcast too?
Yeah, I'm doing the podcast.
The Zealous Wellness. Okay.
Zealous Wellness podcast. Started with the podcast. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just throw the 3 international products in there, and then also the Premier Life stuff, and just kind of have a landing page for information on both services.
Okay, so we'll promote that with this. Yeah. So the Zealous Wellness.
Zealous.
Sorry, okay.
Zealous Wellness. That's a tough one.
Zealous, okay.
Zealous Wellness.
Zealous Wellness. And then what about for the Kicking Academy, if someone is interested in having their kid?
ProForm Kicking is the name of it. It's been for day one. Well, actually not day one, because I had a different name at the beginning, but I changed it. But I tell people, just Google my name.
Right. Okay, and they'll find it. Yeah. All right. Was there anything I forgot to ask you, or anything with you, especially particularly with your businesses, any of your businesses that you want to promote, or something that I forgot to ask?
You covered a lot. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate your time. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.